Jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something highly specific and honestly incredibly valuable, the Malta Hospitality Interview Playbook. Now, if you're looking to land a hospitality job in Malta, whether that's in housekeeping or food preparation, you've got to understand that employers aren't just looking for standard run-of-the-mill interview answers. No way. They are testing you against rigorous, exact international standards. It's not just about what you know, it's about how clearly you can prove you know it. So we're going to break down the exact strategies, knowledge areas, and behavioral traits you absolutely need to master to ace these interviews.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First, we have the interview master strategy, then mastering housekeeping essentials, followed by food preparation and safety. Next up is health, hygiene, and hazards, then handling tricky scenarios, and we'll wrap up with the ultimate professional.
Section 1. The Interview Master Strategy. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this simple three-step formula is literally your secret weapon. Seriously, it transforms a basic, forgettable answer into a professional demonstration of total competence. When an interviewer asks you to explain a concept, you don't just give a textbook definition. First, you tell them exactly what it is. Second, you explain why it actually matters to the hotel or the guest. And third, you ground the whole thing in reality with a concrete, real-world example.
Let's look directly at our source material to see how this works in practice. The structure laid out here is crystal clear. Look at the sample question. Why is hygiene important? A novice might just shrug and say, to be clean. But using our method, you'd say, hygiene means keeping ourselves, our clothes, and our workplace clean. Right? That's the what. Then, it's important because it prevents the spread of germs and keeps customers safe. Bam! That's the why. Finally, for example, washing hands before handling food helps prevent contamination. There's your example. By connecting the action to the reason, you prove a deep, practical understanding.
And here is a golden tip straight from the playbook. Say you're in the middle of answering one of these explain questions, and you feel like your answer is just a little too short. Or maybe you freeze up, which happens, right? Just tack on this exact phrase. This is important because it helps provide better service. Employers absolutely love this. Why? Because it immediately shows that you get the ultimate goal of the entire hospitality industry, which is customer satisfaction. It's an incredible safety net that instantly elevates your professionalism.
Section 2. Mastering Housekeeping Essentials. Let's compare the core priorities of these two roles to build a clear mental map of what employers are actually testing for. On the left, we've got housekeeping. On the right, food preparation. Notice how distinct their primary missions are? Food prep is intensely focused on biological safety and stopping illness in its tracks. Housekeeping, on the other hand, is heavily focused on the psychological comfort of the guest, things like privacy, extreme attention to detail, and creating a truly welcoming environment. You've got to frame all your interview answers around these specific priorities, depending on the role you're going for.
So, put yourself in the hot seat for a second. If I'm the interviewer, let me ask you right now. How do you protect guest privacy? Think about it. It's definitely not just about staying quiet in the halls. It's about active, deliberate respect.
Well, here is the exact employer-approved answer. Protecting privacy means respecting personal information and private space. You never, ever enter a room without permission, and you absolutely never share a guest's information with anyone else. You want to heavily emphasize this in your interview, because protecting privacy is what builds the foundation of trust between the guest and the hotel. For a housekeeper, it is absolutely non-negotiable.
Section 3. Food Preparation and Safety.
Now, if you are aiming for a food prep role, listen up. This is, without a doubt, one of the most vital questions you will face. What is cross-contamination? Let me tell you, they aren't just looking for a dictionary definition here. They are prompting you to prove you understand the underlying why behind strict kitchen rules.
Cross-contamination happens when harmful bacteria are transferred from one food or surface to another, and this brilliantly illustrates the real-world danger, right? Think about using the same knife for raw chicken and then immediately using it to chop a fresh salad without washing it first. It perfectly connects the definition to a terrifying cause and effect scenario: foodborne illness. Showing you understand this exact example proves beyond a doubt that you are safe to have in a commercial kitchen.
Section 4. Health, hygiene, and hazards. Okay, these are your personal hygiene non-negotiables. You've got to wash your hands regularly to remove germs. You must wear clean uniforms and keep your nails clean. Here's a huge one. If you feel sick, you do not try to tough it out. You inform your supervisor immediately so you don't risk infecting guests or staff. And you must use cleaning chemicals precisely as instructed to avoid injuries or property damage.
Deliver these points with absolute confidence in your interview. Remember, these aren't just friendly suggestions, these are rigid expectations for international standards.
Section 5. Handling tricky scenarios.
Let's look at a classic pressure test. An interviewer asks, "You see a wet floor in a public area, what do you do?" There's a very precise order of operations here. Step 1, clean the spill immediately. Step 2, place a warning sign. Step 3, prevent slips and accidents. Notice what's missing? You don't just walk past it. You don't just tell someone else to do it. You take immediate, personal ownership to prevent a workplace disaster.
So the crucial point here is that no matter what tricky scenario they throw your way, the structural solution is always exactly the same. Guest complains about a dirty room, you apologize, report, and resolve it. Find a lost item? Do not keep it. Report it and hand it straight to a supervisor. A colleague breaks a hygiene rule. You politely remind them and report it if necessary. The winning formula is always remain calm, take immediate correct action, and constantly communicate with your supervisor.
Section 6. The ultimate professional.
You know, employers aren't just hiring robots to follow a checklist. They are hiring people who will live and work in their country. You really need to show you've done your homework. Know that Valletta is the capital, the euro is the currency, and both Maltese and English are spoken there. Show them that you deeply value punctuality and teamwork. Crucially, show that if you make a mistake, and hey, we all do, you will own it and correct it immediately. And finally, remember that Malta is a massive international tourist hub, so you absolutely must demonstrate a profound respect for diverse cultures and religions.
If we were to distill this entire explainer down to one single golden rule, this quote from the source material is it. A good employee is honest, hardworking, punctual, respectful, and willing to learn. This summarizes exactly what the interviewer is trying to find when they look across that table at you. At the end of the day, they just want someone they can trust.
And that brings us to our final, somewhat provocative question. It's one that you will very likely be asked and one you need to answer for yourself right now. Using the strategies, the safety protocols, and the professional mindset we just unpacked, what will you contribute to your employer in Malta? Take this playbook, formulate your own unique answer, and go absolutely crush that interview. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.